Producer.
Good evening, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here. And tonight I'm joined by my two cohorts as always. We got Slotitup503 Jason.
What's up, everybody?
We got Jimmy the Don.
What's going on, everybody?
And we got our special guest, Dan from Dank Comics.
Hi.
We are going to roll this around a little, then we're going to say hi to the audience. So right now, in effect, we got the Chip Getler, who is in Capstone Comics. Kenny, how you doing?
Kenny.
Chip, how are you, sir? Chop and Drop, thank you, sir, for being here.
Okay.
Mr. Awesome,
Mr.
another
Awesome.
great supporter of the community. And one of me and Jimmy's all-time favorites here on YouTube is Jerry the Jitterbug, who does awesome restoration on comics.
Invaluable, yeah.
And then we found out earlier in the week he does it on cars, so I think he can restore anything, even our faith in humanity. So, right, not just. And now Jerry and Kenny are actually teamed up and doing a pretty cool thing where he sent him a book to upgrade. DJ Links, how you doing, sir? Taylor, what's up? All right, and Sir Kim's Circumstances, how you doing? The Arcade Pop, chillin'. So, Dan, before we get going here, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody and just give them a little bit about your channel.
All right. I host Dank Comics, and I do it with my wife. She shoots it, and then I do everything else. She used to help me more, but now I do everything because I don't want to burden her. But yeah, and that's it's my fourth channel though, actually. So I don't know.
And we're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
Like you're shooting up like a rocket right now. Like it seems like yesterday you were just at 100. You're going to be at 500 plus, and you're going to be passing most of the people on YouTube pretty quick. But it's well deserved. You got great video quality. But tell us a little bit about the history. You said you had 4 other channels. What were the channels before, and what led you to a comic book channel now? And what do you think the success secret is for this one?
All right, so first channel was called Haterade Parade, and it was like I was going on rants to kind of like change the world, and the idea was that hate spreads better than love. So I kind of like pretended to be like an angry, hateful person, but it was messages of love. So I was trying to subvert how powerful hate is by spreading love through the guise of hate. Okay, whatever, right? And then I did another channel, which is like a podcast thing, and that like I don't know, that didn't really work out. And then I did another channel called Not for Profit, and profit is spelled like a prophet of God or whatever. And it's just like life coaching advice and stuff because I do that on this. I consult with a bunch of people, and I just want to share that as much as I could with as many people as I could, right? So none of these channels did well at all, right? And I developed, so my very first video is trash, right? And it's been 5 years of developing, so just so people don't feel too bad. Like it took me 5 years to get here, right? And then so this comic book channel, I never thought of doing a comic book channel, but I used Josh Avery as a presser. I don't know if you guys know Josh Avery from Avery Pressing.
Nope.
No.
He's like a legendary.
Presser, so.
Okay, yeah, sure. He's like legendary. He's very good. He's great with communication. I'm kind of plugging him, but his wife receives the packages, and she was so impressed with how I packed my comics that Josh emailed me and said, "Hey, you mind if you can make a video to teach people how to pack their comics because they do such a terrible job?" And my wife, it would just save her so much trouble, and I'll give you a discount. But he didn't even know I was a filmmaker. He didn't know anything about me, and I was just like, in my head, I'm like, dude, you picked the right person to add. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So my very first video is just a tutorial on packing comics. It has nothing, without any idea of making a channel, right? And then that gets more views than everything I ever did, right? And I worked so hard on the other channels, right? But that packing comics video, right? And I do have a lot of strong feelings about the comic books in the community. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll just try another video. Let's try another one, right? And then I did that, and that did pretty well. And then I was just like, all right, let's just try again. I just kept trying again. So yeah, now I'm doing a lot, but I did it little by little by little, and I'm realizing, oh, I think people like this, and also I just wanted to be myself, like complete, like that's like my thing. Like I learned a long time ago, pretending to be someone else is such a waste of energy, and I think that's what people like. I don't know.
Well, and the community is very, very accepting, man. And it's
yeah.
just like Jamie was talking to Rod DeRica, man. That's the great thing about the community. And just like Jimmy said, if the whole world acted like the comic book community, we'd all be getting along just fine.
Actually, Rod, so he did a shout out for me like very early, super early on when in my channel days or whatever in this channel.
Here.
Yeah, and
same with all of us.
Yep. And I didn't know he was doing it either, right? So I just stumble on because he's live. I'm like, oh, cool, he's live. Shout out show. Oh, what's this, right? And then he shouts me out live while I had no idea. So it's extremely surreal because I'm like watching it live. I'm like, what the heck is going on? How does he even know me? I don't even know what's going on. Yeah, it was incredible. Like Rod is God, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. Great dude.
That's the guy. I had a great time talking to him. You know, you watch him. The shout out show, like I said, I had 50 subscribers maybe at the time, and he shouted me out. And like I say, you know what? That was something that people did. And he's a great guy. I had a great time getting to know him.
Yeah, I'm always trying to pay forward to because I kind of, that's something I do already before the comics channel, but that I'm seeing that it's part of the comic channel community. I was just like, oh man, like really, like my childhood love is doing the things I love. Like it's just happening. It was like too much. So I also love like shouting out and kind of promoting other channels. And it's paying it forward and stuff, you know.
Now, you said your wife was filming your videos at first, too. So is comics just a you hobby, or is it a you and her hobby?
It is a me hobby, but because she's like, you know, she's like kind of napping while we shoot, you know. But I'm like, hey, she starts to get interested in some of the comics, right? Because I'm talking about them. I'm so passionate about them. So I'm like giving her series to read. And I'm actually all about comics need to be more mainstream because I think people don't realize what they're missing. Like I believe we have one of the greatest mass media there is right now. Right now, especially, I think we're in a new golden age. I think people are not really fully aware of it and cognizant of it, and and I don't think people realize like the intimacy of a comic and what it can do and what you do with it, and because the quality is so good, I can unabashedly recommend it to anyone on the street and not feel like, you know, like in the 90s, I don't think I could do that necessarily.
Oh, exactly. That's great comics' greatest secret, right? Everyone always, it's funny, right? Because people will love literature and they'll love art, but you put literature and art together and all of a sudden it's just kiddie fair, which has never made sense to me. You know, literature and art are peanut butter and chocolate to me. You know, they meld so well together, and it's a medium that can express things that can't be expressed in any other way. Just like film, just like all these other different art forms, it's got ways it can express things that you just can't get across in any other way, and it's just fantastic.
I did do a video on this very topic, and but I talked about Scott McCloud. I don't. Y'all read Scott McCloud?
I have not.
Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. It's like one of the great like literary, and it's a graphic novel about comics and what they are, right?
So it's very meta.
It's very meta, and there's sequels, but it's a very important book, and he talks about how like when you represent reality, it's more real than any recreation. So like a smiley face, you know, talking about something like really sad, you're gonna identify that more with that a lot harder than an actor performing and doing it, because you're still like, oh, that's an actor, that's a blah blah blah. But when you see a smiley face, you make it so real, like, because it's the idea of it, right? It doesn't have to look like it exactly, but it's the idea of it, and that makes it so much more powerful in the imagination. And they bring up Mouse, right, by Art Spiegelman, which is a comic book about the Holocaust. But
now that I know about.
Yeah, and people would argue that is one of the greatest Holocaust stories ever told, right? And what I think he said it too, but part of that is because, you know, you got these mice and you got these cats and they represent people, but and I bring up Schindler's List in that video or whatever, but how like you still aware that that's an actor, this is a set, you know, even though it looks so real and they're trying so hard to make it so real.
Right. Liam Neeson is Liam Neeson.
Yeah. But the comic, it's like, because you make it real, it's just crazy intense. It's way more intense than you expect, and that's why it won the Pulitzer, or almost. I think it won the Pulitzer, right? I think that's the comic that won the Pulitzer. You know, that's like really show people what we can do with the medium.
Oh, so, I believe you're right. I think Mouse did win it.
Yeah.
Hey, Dank, I'm interested to know about the filmmaking you do. Like, is that something that you do in your day-to-day life? I mean, is that like your job, or talk to me a little bit about that?
All right. I'm like a super indie filmmaker. But initially I actually wrote a comic book series, and I made a comic book series when I was like in my early 20s. And it was much harder to do that back then. And it's actually way easier now. Like, it's incredible. Anyway, I liked comics, and then someone asked me if I would write a film. And a lot of things I do, it's because someone tells me to do it. Even like the college I went, someone suggested it. I just kind of let the world tell me what to do or whatever. But sorry, I'm like losing my train of thought. I'm sorry, I totally lost the train of thought.
That's all right. I was asking you about your filmmaking, like how you got into that, and yeah.
Yes. So then someone asked me to write a film, and then I realized, like, with filmmaking, with screenwriting, it's more minimal than comic book writing, because comic book writing, I put all these details about the foreground, the background, and all this. In a script, if you start doing that, people hate it. And in a comic, you can have like dinosaurs leaning on skyscrapers, drinking cappuccinos, having a conversation. You write a script like that, the producer's going to tell you you're an idiot. What is this? Why are they dinosaurs? But in a comic, there's no limits, right? So, but in film, there's these like limitations. And then I realized, like, oh wait, it's forcing me to be more creative because of the limitations. So that became like really fun, and screenwriting is easier than comic book writing, in my opinion. So then I did that because it's also more, at the time, there's better industry for filmmaking to make films, and people put way more money into films, even though nothing happens with them. But now I came back to comics recently, and I'm working on multiple different series right now with different artists, and now that the world like loves comics more, you know, it's just such a different, everything's changed. So I'm still making films, but and people think my film work is like super creative, or because I mash a lot of genres and I do all this stuff, and they think I'm like so creative, but I'm like, yeah, I'm just doing what they do in comics. Like, y'all don't know, like, this is happening in comics. I'm just doing the same shit they're doing. But I think because we have such terrible films, for the most part, people don't realize. And a lot of great filmmakers are heavily influenced by comics. And, you know, like Michael Chabon he's like kind of more a writer, but comics made him who he is. And yeah, there's tons of filmmakers. Comics made them who they are. But now I'm kind of going back, and yeah, because sort of the world is telling me to. So
if I wanted to go watch a film that you've done, what could I watch, and where could I watch it?
So in the description of every video I have, there's like a link to our film production company, filmcubbyproductions.com, and we just put it all up for free. You just watch it because, you know, people like they're very precious about their stuff, and I don't know. I think that's sort of a beginner's artist thing, you know, because the truth is, like, if you're a big company, they'd rather pay you $50,000 to own everything you did completely, lock, stock, than get sued for $5 million 10 years down the line and like risk their reputation. So like the idea that, you know, someone stole it, it's maybe it does happen, right? Maybe it does happen because it does happen sometimes. But if you only have one idea, did you have a career to begin with? You know, like you got to be able to keep generating. You can't just have one idea, right? So, and you hear a lot of hacks tell this story, like, then they stole my idea and now I'm a scrub. But I'm like, I don't know if you had a career, bro. Like if you can't make more, like steal
Sometimes
it.
you just need one good idea though, and you're set.
Yeah, but
it's true. It's not a career though. It's
just an idea that took off. Is all that is.
Yeah, it's like fucking Pogs, you know, like we don't admire the inventor of Pogs. It just happened, and you're like, oh, whatever.
But I think you missed the real meaning of Jimmy's question. And
I'm sorry.
What Jimmy was after was, when are you going to ask him to be a lead in a movie?
Oh no! So first of all,
I mean,
almost
he wants to play Superman.
You all have movie faces. I would definitely cast y'all in any movie. Like
I could be a handsome romantic lead.
You all are very iconic. I can give you guys such incredible trait. Like you guys would be great in films because y'all don't look exactly like anyone exactly, and that makes a film richer when you see like really like unique faces that are different, and because you start believing the world. But if everyone looks like a model, like I'm just like I start checking out. It's like, this is a fucking movie. I'm not, you know.
Yeah, I'd be the Steve Buscemi.
I mean, you're way more handsome than Steve Buscemi, so I don't like.
I wouldn't go that far, Dank. Come on.
No?
Yeah, I mean, there's no need to, there's no need to lie to the man right here on camera. It's fine.
Now, are you dual developing anything? Because you said you're writing comics, you're also doing movies. Are you developing anything that's both at the same time? That's a film, but also an adaptation in comic form?
Yeah, like in 1,000 different ways. Like because it might sound crazy, but I have over 30 fully fleshed, completely like commercially viable, interesting like concepts for films, TV, everything. But I don't think I'm unique. I think because of the internet, because of our access to so much information and culture and everything, I think we're hitting some sort of historical moment where there's like 1 million people like me that are creating like 100 excellent ideas at once. And it's kind of like, we just haven't seen that before since like Stan Lee or like the couple of people that do that once in a while. But I think we're at this historical moment where actually there might be 1 million of us and we're coming of age. So like, if I actually pitched you like 30 ideas, you would be like, what the fuck? But I don't think I'm unique. I think there's a lot more people like me than we realize. I mean, freaking James Tynan, like Matt Kent, like, you know, like these people, like they're creating so much a variety of stories that you're like kind of thinking like, Brian K. Vaughan, Alan Moore. You're like wondering, how does this one individual come up with all of this stuff? And it used to be a mystery to me, but now I'm like, oh, you just tap in. You just tap into what's there, and it just happens. But I think because of the internet, we are more likely to see this more often than we like. Yeah,
well, we got so much information flowing into us on a daily basis that you're going to form ideas, and it's all based on a conglomeration of all this stuff that you're just absorbing. But let's go to the question in the audience. Simple Simon wanted to ask you if you could direct a superhero movie, which one would it be?
Okay, so I actually made a joke. I actually talked about this recently. It's sort of a joke. It's not that serious, but I would kind of want to work on a Wonder Woman film where it's about this secret first year of Wonder Woman in man's world, right? So, because, you know, like in Themyscira, right, everyone's like, women are very respected, right? So I want to write this like Elseworlds film where it's like rated R. So first year Wonder Woman's here and she's treated like this, you know how people treat pretty women? And she just murders 26 people that year. And it's this like story of Wonder Woman murdering 26 people and then realizing like, I need to like let go of this anger and then she becomes Wonder Woman. Like,
you
and
see
then
her brushing the blood off with her
yeah,
lasso.
yeah, it's like the secret
In and
prequel
out.
of how Wonder Woman became the person she is. But she had that 1 year of just like murdering 26 men.
Walking by a construction site and gets catcalled.
Oh, and she just
walks
like
up and smacks him off the building.
like can't believe it, and she just like chops his head off and like has to like kill everyone else to get away with it. And then it's like, oh my god, what am I doing? I gotta figure out how to like deal with this because I just like imagine like I feel like that makes sense as a character. Like if you suddenly entered this world, you'd be like, what the F is going on, you know? And I would murder people. If I became a woman, like right now, I would want to murder a lot of people. Like, because I don't think I could take it being like talked to, like I don't know a thing. I'd be filled with so much. I don't know. Yeah, I think that I would do something like that.
Right.
If they
You
let
take
me.
someone with her power and the rage that can induce.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a fun story. It would be like the Joker movie, you know. It's like 9 continuity, like a rated R. I mean, it does sound very political, but.
So, what is your favorite genre of storytelling, and what's in comics? What's your favorite hero?
Okay, so I know Danny Waters talked about this recently on someone else's show. I forgot whose show. I'm sorry. It was very recent, this interview. Anyway, he was saying like he doesn't like genre. I somewhat agree. Like I kind of what makes my work original is because I'm taking like multiple genres and just smashing it together and making sure like it feels like a story still, first and foremost. But then later I can analyze and be like, oh, it was a tragedy and a comedy and all. Like you shouldn't write stuff with theme in mind. I think that's a bad idea. It's better to write and like from the heart, and then later you find out what the theme is. That happens all the time for me, at least. And then hero Jesse Custer, because Jesse Custer's my man, and also like that, you know, the storyline in Preacher, when you all read Preacher, okay, yeah. So you know how his like friend breakup with Cassidy, right? Spoilers, audience, for Preacher. So I'm gonna talk about Preacher spoilers, comic book Preacher. Okay.
Garth Ennis Preacher.
Garth Ennis Preacher. That like later in life, I would meet very charismatic friends that I thought were my best friends, and I discovered they were like secretly sociopaths. You know, so like I felt like I read Preacher when I was a teenager, and it kind of got me ready for that, you know. And it also showed me like you gotta do what's right, you know. And like even though Jesse Custer's a hard ass, he lets people be what they are. Like he also doesn't give a shit what you do with your life, and that's just I just admire that so much. And he's a bully killer. I'm a bully killer. I love getting rid of bullies. I love making bullies feel small. So I've just invited a million trolls, I think, right now. So
Yeah, not at all. And it's nothing we ever talked. And it's funny you say that because I'm a big video game guy.
okay, yeah.
So I'm used to being in these big game chats, right? And just me and my buddy.
Yeah.
And then my other buddy who became a state trooper in Indianapolis in Indiana. But it's funny. We're the comics guys playing together, but we would go in and we could control a whole room, and just if the three of us were in the same room together, we were going to kill everybody that was in there.
Yeah.
Just that's what was going to happen. But then you get these people that would come in, and it goes back to what you were saying earlier. They'd find someone in the room and start picking on them.
Oh yeah,
and that would just enrage us. We'd get triggered immediately, and the three of us would just destroy whoever was picking on somebody else until they left. And we just couldn't take that kind of. And we did it in so many different games, and I even do it. I've even done it in real life and things I won't talk about. But when I've gotten mad, and I mean, I've gone for people in the parking lot that were doing something to somebody else, or just. I mean, I'm not good with it. I don't like to see someone pushing down someone else. And the three of us have talked about this before, and then it's part of the reason the three of us get along is we all have, in that respect, we all have very similar personalities.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like with bullies, sometimes I like to like mess with them. I'll kind of like especially like alpha male types that like picking on everyone and being
And
the
it's
hot
easy too.
and the hot shit in the room or something. I will get near them, you know, and I'll be like extra friendly. I'll be so friendly, it confuses them, right? And then they'll make fun of me. They'll do like a passive aggressive, like making fun of me. And then I'll pretend it's not passive aggressive. They're not making fun of me, that they're saying something cool about me and I like it. And then anytime they give me like a stupid premise about, I'll take that premise and push it so far that until they're uncomfortable. And I'll be so nice and friendly until they're so uncomfortable that they stop fucking acting like hot shit.
Well, the thing is it's easy to deconstruct them because
yeah,
the thing is based on nobody challenging them. And once they're challenged, they don't know what to do.
and they're generally deeply insecure. I mean, I used to struggle with bullies too as a young kid, so I think that's why it's so personal for me. And then I learned how to fight. So I hate I hate fighting. Actually, that's why I learned it, because I was terrified of getting into fights. So I wanted to learn it so I could deconstruct it, and now I'm actually not afraid to fight. But that's because I changed the way I see my body. I don't see my body as like, oh, I'm gonna get hurt. I see it as like, this weapon blocks, this weapon hits, this weapon blocks, hits, grab you, weapon. Like it changes the way you see your body. And then what's awesome about that later is that if you go into a job interview, right? If you go into a business negotiation, right? You don't ever hurt anyone, right? But you know, in the end, you can beat them to a pulp, right? But you'll never do it. You'll never ever do it, right? But you have this kind of edge where, because everyone's trying to intimidate everybody, everyone's playing all these stupid power games, right? So when you go in there and you know that you can do that, and they try to play power games, and you're just like, you're just not shaken by it, like, 'cause they shake everybody.
And that's the whole mental game, but you just got to not care.
Yeah. But again, I hate violence. I think violence is never the answer. And in fact, the more I learned how to fight, I never got into fights again. Like, because the people can kind of sense that you're ready to fight, so they don't kind of mess with you anymore. Like, I got assaulted last year because I was Asian in New York. This dude on the bus, you know, he just shoved me, and he said, I was like, dude, what's up? And he's like, I felt like it, right? So this has happened to me. Like, this is actually happening. Like, it's not like a fake news story. So, and I just like stood there, and I was like, dude, but why? You know? And he was just like, what, you want to do something? And he's like, started getting more upset. But I just like stood there. I was like, well, you know, like, why? You know? And he just like diffused himself and walked away. Like, because I don't think he knew. I was in my head, I was like, oh no,
because he was expecting you to back away or show
or
fear,
like angry, but not know how to fight. That's what he wants. That's what he really wants. He wants me to get upset, but I actually don't know how to fight, so that he can punish me because he hates his life. Because people that do that, they hate themselves. That's the reason it's happening all the time. There's some sort of self-hate going on. But yeah, I think because he can tell, like, I wasn't not scared of him. I just wasn't scared of him. I think it kind of threw off his rhythm or whatever. And in my head, and this happened another time too, where a guy on the street, he ran like unprovoked, okay, in Washington Heights, comes over at me, kicks my feet, and I'm just like, oh, and I turn around, and I'm like, okay, in my head, I'm like, all right, this is one of the times I get to beat someone up, right? That's like literally what I'm thinking. I'm like, all right, I guess this is happening. I turn and I look at him, I'm ready to fight him. I have headphones on, I'm listening to music, like, it's so unprovoked. I'm not even paying attention. He attacks me out of nowhere. And I look at him, and he's just like, he's doing this, he's yelling in Washington Heights, and he's crying. And I don't know what's going on. And I'm like,
he's having a mental breakdown.
Yeah, why are you crying? I don't know what's happening, you know? And so much of me wants to beat him to a pulp, because it's like my New York City rights right now, right? It's my, like, I also been robbed, and I like caught the guys, and it was my right to beat him to a pulp. Anyway, I get, again, I don't like violence, but anyway, so I'm crying. He was like this, and I left. Something internally, I knew, okay, I'm not supposed to fight, because I don't fight people that are like, kind of like, they're not ready to fight, right? So I go in the train. I'm still fuming, because I'm like angry at myself for not beating him up too. I'm like, why didn't I just beat the crap out of him? He just attacked me for no reason, right? And then I'm like thinking back, and I start to flashback the moment, and I realize like, wait a minute. When I was walking down the street, he was with a woman too, right? And then he just ran at me and kicked me. And I turned out he was crying. And the woman was there on the side. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe the woman was done breaking up with him. He was crying. He saw this Asian guy on the street look over. And he thought, oh, screw this Asian guy. And he wanted to punish me because he was hating that moment. So then he kicks me for no reason. And his arms were like this, right? He was in a position where I could have hurt him so bad, right? And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, he wants to get hurt. Like it like hits me on the train. He wanted someone to beat him, like to give him what he feels, right? And I was like, damn, I'm so glad I didn't beat him up because he actually wanted. I've had a lot of situations like this in the city where I realized like they want the cops to come and beat them up, like some dude or something freaking out. And
it's a form of self-punishment.
Yeah, and then one guy, he was like, because people were like, you should call the cops, and this guy was like, he's like, call the cops. I was like, I stopped. I was like, yo, why are you saying that? Like, don't say that. Why are you saying call the cops? Like, I got almost offended. I'm like, because you know they're gonna like beat the shit out of you, like so bad that whatever temper tantrum you're having is not gonna equal what the police are gonna do to you because you're scaring a bunch of
and
white people.
The whole analytical side that comes from what you do for a living too, right?
Yes. Well, so I almost died when I was a month old, and I almost died when I was 3, and I almost died when I was 15. I actually I shouldn't be alive. I cheated death so many times. When I was 3, I remember I didn't know I was dying, but everyone was acting weird, right? When you're dying, and I'm 3, so I can't process what's happening. And my dad would be like, hey, I'll get you anything you want, whatever you want. And in my head, I'm like, anything I want? What the fuck? Why are you telling me I can get any? Like in my head, I'm like, why the hell are you saying that? And I'm like, okay, fine. He was so desperate to give me something I wanted, right? And I was like, okay, Ghostbuster walkie-talkies, right? So he goes out on the street, and he's like an immigrant. He doesn't speak English well. He comes back with regular ass walkie-talkies, right? And I'm like, well, this is not really Ghostbuster walkie-talkies. And he looks so desperate to give me something that I lie to him. I'm like, oh, thanks, Dad. This is exactly what I wanted, right? But I'm 3, right? So I'm already learning, like, some people, they need to be told the truth that they need. You know, they're not ready to like, I learned, like, okay, he needs me to just say, I like this a lot because he needs this to stay comfortable because
right,
he's so uncomfortable. And then I realized, like, everyone talks in subtext. Nobody says what they mean. I've noticed, in my opinion, people just don't say what they mean ever. And there's always a subtext to what they're saying. And that helps me direct actors. That helps me with filmmaking.
You see, I get criticized because I almost always say what I mean, and people don't like it.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
How the hell did we get here? Like, we started out as a comic book show, and we have went straight karate. Like, I am. Thank you. Are an interesting dude, my man.
Jiu-jitsu. I think you mean jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. Excuse me. You are an interesting dude.
Hoist Gracie, buddy. Hoist Gracie.
You almost died when you were 3, and then again.
I'm sorry.
Well,
keep going.
I cracked my skull when I was 15, and I was in a coma for like a little while, and Oh, okay. So, anyway, right. So we all know about the multiverse, right? Because we're comic book people, right? But in the last like 10 to 15 years, a lot of physicists are starting to come around and actually believe there is a multiverse. And I actually can badly explain three theories of how a multiverse exists, right? So then I realized, right, there's an infinite multiverse. That's the idea, that there's an infinite multiverse, right? That means, therefore, every time I almost died, I did die, right? So like, I did actually die. Yeah, I'm in the alternate Earth where this dumb motherfucker is surviving death way too much. Is that for nothing? And I think this applies to everyone that's fucking alive on this Earth. So like, every time you almost lost everything, you did almost lose everything on another Earth, right? Every time you almost died, you actually did die on another Earth. You are on the alternate Earth. where for some unknown reason you're alive. Is that for nothing? Maybe. But like, or maybe not. And I think that's up for us to decide. But I think we kind of forget like how extraordinary it is that we are actually on this earth as opposed to the infinite other earths.
There's a few times I shouldn't have been here. I got cranked by a car pretty good once and woke up in the middle of the street, walked it off.
But I got alcohol poisoning once, woke up in a hospital. That was like my most traumatic. Well, I broke my leg, but other than that, yeah. No near-death experiences.
But like
he was surviving that in a KFC when he did that.
Arby's.
I've never had anything like that. You know, when I grew up, I've never really been hurt. You know, knock on wood, I've never had a broken bone, really. I've never had anything. We used to, you know, when we grew up, we used to hang out in the high school parking lot on Friday nights and fight for fun. That's, you know, that's what we used to do, and chew skull. That's what we did, and drink beer.
Yeah, that's how it was in high school when I was in school too. Like if you had a problem with someone, you just met them after school somewhere. Like nowadays, people bring guns.
Yeah, it's too intense. Like violence it just gets too wild, and people like, yo, if you look, the thing is the reason. So I've been in many fights, but I never punched the face, right? So because the truth is, if you and I can actually, you guys don't know this, but I can punch very hard. Like my knuckles are all grown and stuff. But if you knock someone out in a fight, they go to sleep and they fall and their head fucking breaks on the ground and they're dead, and you accidentally killed someone over name calling, like, and you're gonna live with that for the rest of your life. Like, this is why I can't get over. I mean, the older you get too, look, if you're like a teenager, okay, you're more scrappy, but the older people that fight, I'm just like, you guys, oh my god, you're gonna like accidentally kill each other over what? So if I get in a fight, I try to keep it to grappling, or I try to like hurt them really hard in the body so that they get scared and they don't like keep fighting, or like try to take the fight out of them, and then I stop. I've never beat anyone after. Like as soon as the fight is out, I'm done. I stop fighting because it's not my nature. It's not my nature, and I don't enjoy it at all. It's the worst.
Gary B loves it. Gary B, tell us about
Gary B is a scrapper.
It's been a while since I've been in one.
Oh.
It's been a while too. I really think the last time I got into a fight was in college, but I was drunk in a bar. You know how that goes. And Caps on Comics, I also once passed out in a Taco Bell drive-thru. That happened.
My worst thing I do is I speed in my car. Like this last weekend, I was on my way back and I was passing people on the right because they were not going the speed limit in the fast lane. Right. So I was going 88, and I passed the cop. And my wife punches me in the arm. She's like, "You just passed the cop," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, I don't want to slow down now because then I'll be admitting guilt."
Right.
So I keep going. I'm like, "Screw it." You know, the cop flies up alongside me and he rolls his window down and I can just read his lips. He's screaming out the window, 65. I'm like,
wow.
Okay, my bad. So I slowed down to like 80 and he just got off the freeway and the next exit didn't bother me. So I thought for sure. And I was honestly, I was going to be like, I was going to be a jerk kind of. I was going to be like, well, I was trying to pass these idiots. And then my wife punched me and I was like, my bad. So he was like, yeah.
I bet.
So I can get aggressive too, but
I think Super Jessie saved you there.
She saved my ass. She saved you there. Absolutely. I was going to smart off to him.
Oh, that won't get you anywhere.
It never does.
I was in a car with like a Pakistani guy, a Bengali guy, Vietnamese kid, a Filipino kid, right? And we're smoking weed, right? And then we're pulling a corner, and I'm 15. I'm 15 years old, right? And then we get pulled over, and I'm like, oh my god, right? And the guy from Bangladesh, he didn't even smoke, right? So as we're getting pulled over, he's like, should I run? And I'm like, no, we're all like, don't run. What are you talking about? And the cop comes over. He's like, and it smells like crazy. In fact, I was like hitting it as we saw the cops. I was like, oh shit. And I'm like hiding it. And he's like, you know how fast you're going? It's like, no, officers, you're going blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, well, watch how fast you're going. And he walked away, right? And we're all sitting there, right? And we're like high as heck. And I'm just like, hey man, are you guys all trying not to smile right now? And everyone's like, right? And then I'm like, So then we drive away, and I'm like so confused because I could have sworn it smelled like weed, right? But there's skunk cabbage in the area. But then I was like, wait a minute. But we're like the computer club right now, right? It's all Asian kids, right? Like, is the computer club getting high in a car? Maybe not. Maybe that's how we got away with it, because they thought, oh, these group of Asian nerds, they're not doing any good, any trouble. So I think the cop just didn't register that there was, because they're notorious for, like, back in that time, you know, if you smell like, you're done, man. Like, you're getting arrested. But for some reason, the cop didn't register it was happening. I think it's because we look like the computer club. That's my theory. That's like, I just don't think
that you smoke weed. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that you smoke weed after talking to you. There's just no way.
It helps in the hot box with Gary B. That's what it should be.
In the hot box with Gary B for sure.
No, I use a vaporizer, actually, like a portable vaporizer. I don't use the vape pens. I take flour and vaporize it because it's healthier. And
no combusting here, folks.
Huh?
Stop. So you put flour? Wait a minute. Explain this again.
I'm talking about CBD. So if you take CBD, you know, like, there's liquid forms that you vaporize, and there's like, they don't know exactly what that's going to do to you. And then if you do it a while, you kind of can feel this weird pain in your lungs. And, you know, so, but if you take the flour, they call it flour, the bud, the CBD bud, right? Okay. You grind it up, you put in the thing, and you vaporize it. It's under combustion, so it's like a vapor. And it's actually, a lot of cancer patients do this too. I think it's the healthiest way to do it. So that's why I do it that way.
I thought this is how bad and how old I am. I thought you were talking about like flour, like cooking flour. Like
no, that's kind of a new term people are using.
Okay,
it's a kind of a newer slang for bud, on CBD bud. I'm talking about legal CBD, everyone.
Gary B. None of that illegal
stuff. About. I had no idea.
Gary B. knew exactly what you were talking about. He's like, this stuff right here.
Story.
Farm bill. Mitch McConnell signed that farm bill. Now CBD is everywhere. So thank you, Mitch McConnell. CBD is everywhere. That's Kentucky. Why. Yeah. So CBD legal in all 50 states.
All-purpose self-rising. Yep. Yeah.
See, so we used to live an hour away from Canada, and duty free was over there because we used to have 2 parties a week.
Here comes Slot. Here comes.
One summer we filled just a whole pantry closet up, all with empty Jack Daniels bottles, plus all the cases and cases of beer we went through that summer. But I remember we had our one friend, Jason Ernst. Mm-hmm. And the one thing about Jason is if you're around Jason, you always had Sanford and Son in your mind, because no matter what, he's always going, and so it's always. But he liked to drink, and him and his girlfriend Fish got in a fight, so he wasn't having a good day. So we took him out drinking.
Hold on, wait a minute. What, Fish?
That's his name? Those are the people you're hanging out with?
That was her.
Next thing you know, they're on their way to Woodstock. That's where the story's going.
That was her real last name. Everybody called her Fish. So he's like, let's go out. And Jason was funny. And he was a dude that could crack you up. But so we took him out. I'm just straight man that night. I'm doing the driving. I haven't drank a beer. I said, I'll do the driving. You guys have fun with him. Watch him tonight. So, of course, the one night I'm driving, he's gone in the back seat. Jason's just like all over the place. He's a sloppy mess. And we get pulled over. So I'm like, well, at least the sober guy's driving.
Yeah.
And we're on the side, and the cop comes up, and I'm really good at talking to police. It doesn't. I'm not intimidated. It doesn't bother me. I'll talk to him all night. I don't care. Comes up, I'm like, hey, how's it going, officer? What's going on? And he goes, what's going? You're like, oh, we're coming back from the bar. I got my friend in the back. He's drunk. We're trying to get him home, and that's Jason's cue. He sits up and goes, hello, bacon. I'm like, no. And the cop just looked at me and he goes, get him home. Like, yes, sir.
So I don't feel like we know Gary B at all.
I know, right?
I feel like we don't know him at all. Like, I mean, we may need to do in the hot seat with Gary B and really dive into what we've talked about here tonight.
We've never heard any of this stuff, Dank. So you've woken some like beast inside of Gary B right now. So
yeah, but isn't it Gary, right? Like the transporter that was based on you, right? I remember you had to sign those forms. You told me about those forms you signed, yeah. And Jason Statham, was model. He was based on you. That's why they picked Jason Statham. I remember.
Oh man,
you mentioned that.
If only I looked like Jason Statham.
No, it's a movie. Movies, they had to.
Right, movie magic. He doesn't really look like that. He looks just like Gary B.
He's actually
that's more magic than is available in the world. Doctor Strange couldn't pull that shit off.
You know how they found Jason Statham? He was just like he was a seller on the street. He was like selling goods on the street, and like Guy Ritchie met him and made him an actor. That's how he got found.
He was a street vendor.
He was like a street vendor, and he'd be like, "All right, get over here. You want your bed?" He's doing that British like street vendor thing, and they're just like, I need you in my movie, and that's how he got his start. Oh, he was also an Olympic swimmer, I think, too. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Hey, a lot of people get discovered. Let's say with David Boreanaz, the guy who played Angel on Buffy, then Angel and Bones, but he was walking a dog and got approached.
DJ. Oh, DJ Lanks is killing me right now. Yep, Gary.
Oh, don't worry, DJ. I'll show you personally.
No, DJ. Stay away, DJ. Run, DJ, run.
All right.
Crap.
So let's try to get back to comics.
Yeah. Why would we do that? Why?
No, everything is comics, in my opinion. Right. Life is comics. Comics is.
Yeah, I mean.
What? No, this is.
I like where this conversation has gone.
Me too. Let's keep heading down this road that we're going on, Jason. That's what I'm talking about, Slot.
They're always trying to get more stuff out of me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's the casual one, and we keep finding out that he's really not.
Oh man,
he's really not the casual.
I thought I was the one with an anger problem of the bunch, but it's Gary B. Like Gary B makes me look like Snow White.
So we're dealing with the John Wick.
Parts of my history that might be true.
So you were like, how'd you feel when you watched John Wick? You were just like, yep, it's like that.
I love
that's what it's like. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're great.
Man, they're choreographed so well, and the music's great. That's the thing.
That seems like that sums up Gary B's life. It seems like fighting and drugs.
And transporting, right?
Yeah,
transporting. Thank you, Dank.
He was a transporter, clearly.
I'm so happy right now. I really am. Like this, if you would have told me what we were going to do tonight, have this conversation in the hot seat, you would have, in a million years, I would not have guessed that we've talked about the things that we've talked about tonight.
Look, so last month, right? I'm driving to work.
You got a new fan, brother. Like I am 100% Dank Comics.
I super appreciate that.
Some dude blows by me with he's going too fast, and then he screeches around me, goes right through the red light, slides right through it into the other intersection. I'm like, wow, that guy was a moron. So then the light changes. I take my turn. I go to the gas station. I get out of the car. The guy pulls up with his kid. Gets out. You asshole, you. I'm like, me? I'm like, you were cruising. You couldn't even stop. I was already at the red light.
Yeah.
And he goes, I should hit you. I go, all right, hit me right now. Let's go. You get the first punch. And then he got in his car and left.
Yeah, you know though, those stories, it's actually so traumatic for that child. In that experience. Actually, it's really traumatic. When you watch your father go into a rage like that, that's very traumatic for children.
He didn't have a reason to be in a rage. It was his fault. He just was trying to blame somebody else.
I'm just saying,
I was stopped at a red light. He almost rammed me.
Yeah.
And then slid through the light going around.
I've also dealt with dudes with children that like were so foul, and like I wanted to do something, but I actually didn't because they were with their children, and I didn't want to humiliate them and rip them apart in front of their child, because I'm like, I don't want to, that's gonna. So I try to smooth it out and walk because it's with this child, like. It's really important.
Yeah, I was too mad at the moment that I don't like people approaching my car.
Yeah, of course.
If I'm in my car, don't come up, don't knock on my car. And it's something that happened. I do something with security at my job.
Okay.
I have to secure some stuff.
Yeah, transport. We know.
Right, and I've had people come up and If people came up and like random truck drivers knock. I'm like, why'd you knock on my car? Get away from my vehicle. I can't stand it. It drives me nuts.
I mean, when you get hit, you say you hit me. I hit you. You hit. You swerved me. Like we. It's an extension of us. It's basically like if you have one arm and you got a prosthetic arm. Yeah. Someone's tapping you. You're like, hey, why are you tapping my arm? Like I get it. We get it. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
And that's the thing. Well, yeah, when I'm in my car, I'm in my personal space. I don't want you or anyone else in the world to come bother me. Just leave me be. I'm in my vehicle.
Hear that, folks? That's you see Gary B on the street in his car. Right. Do not approach. If you do, you get shot. So approach at your own risk.
But if you need
walk away.
But if you need to send a bunch of CGC books to somebody else, he's the man. He's the man to do it.
He will 100% transport them where they need to go.
I was just thinking we all have our little triggers we don't like. I don't like being approached randomly in different places.
I don't like getting hit. I don't like people hitting my head. Like I will instantly flip out if you hit my head, and I try not to. I don't like it's a trigger, so I have to like
and close talkers.
I have to calm down. Close talkers, yeah.
Like if I'm having a conversation with you, you don't have to keep touching me. I don't want to be touched by you. I don't know you. Don't touch me.
Well, damn. Fine, Gary. I mean,
I'm a hugger.
I'm a hugger, bitch. I'm gonna hug you.
But I know you. It's different with you. I know you.
You don't know how many pickpockets transporters interact with. That's really smart, true, actually.
That.
Yeah.
That is very true.
You don't want that, because a good transporter knows.
That's right.
You gotta keep all the way. You gotta keep a little perimeter.
Mr. Awesome, I am not savage at all. I'm just.
No, he's psychopathic.
No.
Why do you think he's so casual? What do you think? Where do you think that comes from?
I think it's all a lie. Like I think Gary B is lying to all of. He is not casual.
I am casual on YouTube because this is where my calm is.
Let's switch places, Gary.
Not anymore, Jack.
Let's put you in the.
Yeah, there you go, Taylor. Jimmy's a hugger that doesn't let go.
When I meet you, Taylor, that's exactly what's going to happen. At C2E2, I'm going to wrap you up.
He's going to hug you and feed you and call
Gary,
you
you invited so many hugs.
Yeah, I'm going to pet you. Yep.
No, I am not sad. And Simple Simon, we got to get Simple Simon on here one day too, because I want to talk to Simple Simon. That guy's big in conventions and cosplay and.
Yeah, his Two-Face costume they had was killer.
Oh, he's got some. It was killer. I just watched that video too.
Did you see the trailer? Did you all see the trailer? His trailer for the. Oh well, I would recommend. I don't want to spoil it because it actually has like a twist ending. The trailer does. I think you should watch his trailer for his con videos because it's its own little story and it's got a twist ending.
Ooh.
And so I think it's like a really good. It's better than it should be. So, I would check out Simple Simon's trailer for the videos coming up about the con, Supernova Con.
Well, I definitely will.
There's a twist ending. It's worth it. It's worth it.
He's a fun dude. He's interesting.
Yeah.
And I like the segment he does with his friend
Mark.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
Those two are hilarious together.
They're a great duo. I would totally produce a talk show with Mark and Simple Simon. And Mark's on the couch, on the side. He's like, yeah, he's like, saying his thing, and Simple Simon's like, all right. What do you think, Mark? Mark's like, I don't know. And
now, what you got to do, Dank, is you got to do like Jimmy's always telling everybody. Now you're on YouTube. You're in the community. You already know we all love you. Now you got to find your usual suspects.
Yeah.
I think you just found him. I mean, like I think he's taking Gary from us. I mean, that's what Jason. We may have to find a third member. You have to redo that picture.
No, I think I'm cultivating a little like ragtag group of has-beens and lowlifes that everyone overlooked, and I think I'm finding some folks that are ragtag group. It's like Suicide Squad kind of thing,
Love it.
So what kind of things you got planned for the future of this? Because now that you've begun this, said it's been a 5-year journey for you, but now that you've begun it and you're blowing up, what have you got planned?
Okay, so I definitely like want to show how comics are life. Like I kind of mean that. Like I did learn a lot of life lessons from comics that were invaluable, and actually like a lot of people are like, how do you know this and that and that? I'm like, and for a long time I couldn't say, oh, because I read it in Preacher and Sandman, I read it in Alan Moore's like Watchmen. Like it didn't make sense back then, and I could kind of say that kind of stuff now, but I just want us to like kind of crystallize why we love comics more. Like I think, you know, Martin Scorsese, he like he's a director, but I actually think he's a better film historian. Because if you actually watch him talk about film and preserve film, and you see his work as a film historian, he's like the best, right? And that's sort of like what I want to try to do. I want us to understand like how wonderful this culture really is. Okay, but okay. Here. It's not all like idealistic. So I'm working on a bunch of comic book series, right? And I actually deleted all my social media like 5 years ago, right? Because like I have issues with social media and how it affects our culture. But I can't promote my comic without social media, right? Like realistically, it doesn't make any sense, right? So I thought, hey, maybe if I have a YouTube channel, maybe I'll get 100 subscribers. Maybe like 20 of them might buy the comic. At least I'll have something. I'll have some promotion because I don't use social media. So that would be good if I sell the comic through Kickstarter. Yeah, and I swear I never because I didn't have ambitions with this channel. Like it was just sort of like, oh, it's also the easiest one I've ever made, right? Because it just flows.
You connect to.
Yeah, exactly.
You're good at it too.
It's supernatural. Like it's so much, and I didn't even put it. I can't believe why I didn't put it together earlier.
Maybe it wasn't the right time in your life to find it.
Yeah, and then there's like an alternate reality version that like found it a few years earlier. He got too famous. He got way too famous. He married a supermodel. He like cheated on his wife. He's like a drug addict. He's struggling
somewhere else.
Yeah,
like Parallel.
Like I was thinking the same thing, Slot. It's just like Parallel.
Yeah.
Did you read that, Dank?
What?
Did you read Parallel?
No, I have not read Parallel.
Oh my god, dude!
I have it. I have it. I have issue 1 and 2. I bought it in a lot of indie books.
No, it's a one shot by Jay Douglas.
I don't have it. No, I don't know it. But is it available though? Is it like I can order it?
I can send you one if you want one. Reach out to me on Instagram and I'll send you one.
Okay, all right. I have trouble receiving, but I need to you need to receive, right? If you're gonna give, you gotta receive, right? So okay.
He bought a bunch.
I bought 10 of them just so I could give to people that would enjoy reading it. And you sound like someone who would enjoy the book. So
yeah, I think so.
I would be so grateful and honored to get that from you, to be honest. Yeah,
I mean,
that'd be awesome.
And I'm just telling you because it's what all the cool kids are doing, Dank. And
yeah. No, I want to know. I want to know what they're up to.
No, it's a great story. It's very metaphysical, which I think it'll be right up your alley.
Yeah.
And
you'll love it
when you get it. Mm-hmm. Don't pass over the foreword. The foreword is amazing, and it really sets up the story well.
All right. Down. That makes sense. If you tell me the forward enhances the story, I'm definitely going to read the forward. No question.
Because the forward will blow your mind a little, and then the story will continue it.
Awesome. I'm down.
So that's the usual suspects endorsed read is Parallel.
Parallel. One shot. Graphic one shot, right?
Yep.
By Jay Douglas Rice. Yep. By Jason Douglas. You can follow him on Instagram.
Until Dank puts out his comic, and then that is 100% going to the top of my list.
I'm not trying to be the best.
I know you're not. But I'm telling you, I can't wait. I'm dead serious. I cannot wait to read what you write or put together.
Actually, in my descriptions, you can read the first issue of my old comic that I did in 2000. I don't know. I was like in my early 20s. I made it, right? A long, long time ago. But I put it up there. It's black and white because back in the day, that's all the indies were only doing black and white, folks. I don't know if you realize, like now color, you have to have color now, but back in the day, that was impossible. So anyway,
especially with the underground comics.
Yeah. But you can read the first issue of my comic when I made in my early 20s. Hopefully, I'm better than that now. We'll see. I don't know, but you can read some. You can read one comic I did.
That's cool.
You have to send us the link to it.
It's in the description of every video I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, we got to read your descriptions more. It seems like everything's in your descriptions.
Yeah, I don't know. I try to make them really good descriptions so people can easily find like everything they want to find, especially like references to people I mention and like even discount codes. Like I just try to put everyone's like as much as I can. I don't know.
Well, it's just funny for me because I'm so busy and I work so much, but I'm also trying to support channels. So I very rarely, and I know I'm probably in the minority with this, I very rarely read the descriptions. I'm just trying to play a video, watch it, get all the way through it, and support that channel. And
of course.
Comment. So I'm thumbs up, play, and then leave a comment.
Yeah, and if you're looking at your phone, it's not even there. You know, you have to actually get to it. You know, so like, no, I totally get that. And I'm not like I'm copying and pasting. I mean, I'm not like I'm not like doing I'm just like copy paste.
Next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling Gary, he's like, how do you do the timestamps like he does? I go, well, what I did is I went to his video and I copied his little timestamps and I just put the times that I wanted on mine.
Well, actually, I tell you how to do it.
I know, and I was like, this should be easier.
It's so easy. Like I can't believe, like, because I'm not good. I'm not actually techie. I'm not a millennial. Like I am really analog. So once I learned how easy it was, I was like, oh, that's like writing notes on a piece of paper. That's not.
Yeah, it's super easy.
There's no programming involved at all. So, and I think it's really good for your long videos where you see like, 4 people just like for like hours and you don't know what this video is about. So like if you timestamp it with your topics, I believe my theory is it will increase retention time for the future and it will increase the, viewership over the long term because then
makes sense.
Yeah, people will know, oh, okay, they're talking about this here. Otherwise it's like, oh, okay, December 5th, I'm not watching that shit. Like
right.
But if they know that they can figure out what your topics are, I believe it's gonna increase your long-term views in your long videos, I believe.
So, Dank, let me shout out this guy, Manny. I don't know if you follow him.
He's no, I follow Manny.
And he's a great artist too.
Oh, I know.
Wanted to ask if you had a new comics in the works now, which you said you did, but do you have any titles for us, maybe about anything new you got going?
Well, I'll talk about one of them because it's like. It's called The Architect, and it's like a story about the future set in like 2056, and it's a little like Blade Runner, and everyone's like in the future, most people are partially synthetic, and but there's a legal limit in the United States. You can only be up to 75% synthetic, and there's like different philosophical and legal reasons why and whatever.
Yeah, when do you stop being human?
No, yeah, but it's like illegal, and the technology can only reach 90%. They have not hit the singularity yet. Okay, so the story is really about a private investigator, and she's following the most famous model in the world, and she's so famous. Her name is Sasha Knight. Her face is trademarked, right? And they bid out the rights to her face once a year to the highest bidder. Like this is our future, right? So, Maddie is studying her because she believes she used to be someone else a long time ago, and that her original family's like looking for her. So she got paid to find her, and she's gonna accidentally uncover a giant singularity conspiracy involving like the government and everything by accident. She's gonna stumble on this huge conspiracy and then the architect is this guy who actually figures out the singularity, and he has these disciples, and they're trying to bring the singularity to the world and what that means. And
so long form storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, but I should actually try to do a one shot, to be honest, because I know Ross Ritchie, right, from Boom, he recommended that for new creators. He recommended it. I believe he said it's better if you make a one shot, because I don't know if he said that, but I think he said that, because then you get to know, does this person know how to write an ending? Do they know how to tell a story? full story.
Story.
Yeah. So for people trying this out, I would recommend work on a one shot. Don't try to make a giant series. And I don't follow that advice, but I should. I think I'm gonna try to do a one shot because
you can make a whole different other story just based on that model. So if you're this model and you rent and you bid your face off every year, what happens if you get in an accident and that face and someone bid on that face and now that face isn't going to pay dividends that year?
Oh yeah, I ask a lot of questions in my series. Like you're gonna I go there. Like I go there. I'm not like talking too much about the story because I want to surprise people. But
because then you're looking at a big corporation that's out all this money on this auction they just won, and the product can't be delivered.
There's a lot of a lot of stuff.
The key question is there a transporter?
There is.
Gary B.
There is a transporter. There's it's based on Gary B, right? The architect is based on Gary B, yeah. And he actually he takes his consciousness into 12 different bodies, and copies of his consciousness are going to his disciples across the world, like programmers that believe in his vision of singularity. And actually, once he does it, oh man, it's so good. I'm talking too much.
These two guys are building up a false reputation for me.
No, we're not. Everybody can watch this. They know. I mean,
you're really good at covering, man. You're really good at covering your.
I'm sorry, Dank, but we're gonna have to delete this video after everybody watches it live.
I gotta get more whiskey. All right, let's start over.
You have to scrub it from the social medias now. Now, you said you have your own issues with social medias, but you seem to be opening up pretty fine with the comics world. Like you had no problems. You were excited to come on here and talk. Mm-hmm. And so I think the comic side of it and the community side of it, has that really opened you up more to social media than you ever had been before?
Not really. I still hate Instagram. I have an Instagram to communicate. I know people love Instagram. So
well, it's okay to not like something other people like.
It's just like I don't appreciate how the platform is designed to get you addicted, and I don't appreciate how the platform. It used to be, I think, you take a photo and you write notes, right? You can't do it's not that easy anymore. Like, and I don't know why it's not that easy. I can't believe it's not that easy. So to me, anytime a platform makes you do this and this and this and this and this to get to here, that's how brainwashing works. That's how cults brainwash people. They make you say yes to, standing up and going like this, right? You say yes to that, and then you say yes to this, and you say yes to that, and then they're like, okay, go kill your mother, right? And you can't say no because that means you said the wrong answer 10 million times. So your ego cannot process that you've been wrong that hard. That's how brainwashing works. Social media platforms do the same thing. And they make you constantly self-aware of yourself and how you're perceived. Okay, that's hell. And No Exit by Sartre, the existentialist, that was hell. Hell is just other people. Like, you being worried about how other people feel about you is hell. And social media does that. I mean, it's just. And I know people talk about what's good about, and there's some good. I'm not saying it's all bad, but. I don't like that part of it. And I think YouTube is so different because we're seeing each other, you know? And like, you can deal with the crappy troll, but you can also be like, hey, you want to come on a live stream and talk about it? And that's the end of that troll, right? Because the thing about YouTube is we're seeing each other's faces. Yep. And I think that's the difference.
Well, with Instagram, we all know each other's faces, but we're in our community. But you're probably talking more about the public people who aren't interacting with this, where they're just like the person at home and they're not connecting in a community like we are.
No, absolutely. I'm like I said, there is good in it. I'm not saying it's all bad.
But overall, social media as a whole
it's bad.
It's bad. I agree 100%. Like, I don't do Facebook. I'm not a Facebook person.
I've been saying this before that documentary Netflix put out, which also disturbs me that when Netflix talks about it, now we're talking about it, but all the information was there already. But until like another major media conglomerate is like, hey, did you know fast food is bad for you? Then America's like, oh, fast food is bad for us. I'm like, oh my God, the information is everywhere. Like, why are you letting one media company tell you how to like see the world? Like, why are we doing this? Why are we letting media companies tell us how to think? Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
No, that Netflix documentary blew my mind. What was it called?
The Social Dilemma.
Social Dilemma. Yeah, yeah, it blew my mind. Which, I mean, you're right. I knew all that already, but the way they packaged it was crazy.
So I don't know if people remember, but Facebook, it didn't used to have this scroll, the endless feed. Like a lot of people don't even remember this. It used to be like you saw your friends on a wall. You had to actively push through like a Congo. You had to actively engage it, pick your friend, and figure out what's going on. But now it's this endless scroll. And I found out it was designed by casino developers in Vegas to simulate a slot machine. So you're like scrolling. Oh, cool thing. Okay, done. Scrolling. It's like designed to be addictive. So when they pretend like they did it to help humanity, but they're actually working with addiction specialists to make it more addictive. When I found that out, I was like, oh, F you guys. Y'all need to go to hell. And I deleted everything. Like once I found out that was the game and they've been pretending this is about us, but really they're supercharging addiction on purpose, knowingly. It's like, it's not an accident. This has been planned to get us addicted. I never once
thought anything social media was about us though. I know
that's the marketing,
but I never ever thought it was.
But that's how they market it, and that's how we rationalize.
That's true. That is exactly how they market it.
Oh, because then we get to do this and they do that, and you're like, no, you're just fucking.
You live close to Kentucky. We need to hang out.
Oh yeah, I have a couple of very good friends in Kentucky.
And it's funny you bring up because these are the kind of things I talk to my kid about. I'm like, look, you got to be your own person. You got to think for yourself. Don't follow this. Don't do that. And I go, if you feel like you need to say something, say it. And when I picked them up at school the other day, someone had said something to him, and my kid told him off. So they sent my kid to the principal. The principal's cool with him. My kid comes out. He goes, "This is why I said that." I'm like, I looked at him and go, "I'm okay with it. Let's go." You were honest and you stuck up for yourself. I have no issues. We're good. If I have to go in there and talk, I'll go in there and talk, and we'll take care of it. But
that's good. That's a good.
Don't sit there and let yourself be led by somebody else.
I mean, that's like an important lesson in bureaucracy, and like not necessarily like, it's good. That's great. That's fun. I love hearing that story. Like, teaching your son that authority. Sometimes they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and like, sometimes you gotta stick to your guns, and that's like I'm happy to hear that story. That's great.
Well, you just if he's being honest and he's being himself and he says what he feels, then he's not in trouble.
Yeah.
And if you think I'm going to punish my kid for that, you're really mistaken.
Of course.
Dank, what do you know about TikTok? Because never could figure it out. My daughters keep telling me that I need to make a TikTok.
Okay, so I will say I don't have a TikTok. I've never used it, but what I've understand about the platform, I think because it is also visual like YouTube, and it's so microscopic, it's about sharing moments. Really, I think that's why it's become so proliferated. I think it's why it's a little more positive than the other social networks, because it's about sharing moments. It's not really about sharing I think this about that and the left wing and the right wing, and it's none of that. It's like, look at this, like for like 2 seconds, it's like people around the world just sharing like a moment. I think that's why it's like doing so well, and that's why people are really surprised at how positive it is. I don't know though. I don't know. This is based on what I'm like my finger on the pulse or whatever. I don't really know, but
I think it has something to do with people's attention spans in the modern era. They're short.
Short attention span. Yeah, they don't want to watch a 30 minute video. They want to watch
you got a
30-second video.
Yeah.
But I think it's making people maybe appreciate a moment, because like we do exist in like one moment actually. Right, like the past and the future is just a concept in our brain, but really, reality is just one eternal moment. And I think
it's a moment, but I think a lot of those moments, how much time is spent staging a lot of those moments, though, too, because a lot of those moments they're just full of falseness, especially
Oh, okay, TikTok. Okay, yeah. But that one recording is that one recording ever, and will never be another recording like that recording ever in the history of the universe. That is also true.
Well, it's definitely true of this show tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm honored. I'm super honored to be here. Like seriously, like I've
had a ball. Like
yeah,
I've had a blast.
It's been a blast. Yeah.
Dude, I already told you, man. You're gonna be leaving all of us in the dust. We're just gonna ask you to remember us when you leave us behind.
Yeah, but like I'm telling you,
He's like, yeah, yep. I am.
No, it's not that. If you get big, you get like randos being like, "Oh, can you sub to me? Can you shout me out?" You get randos putting way too much thought into you. You get people projecting way too much into you, and there's gonna be a lot of like, I'm gonna miss 100 subs dearly. Okay, so like, and then the troll brigade is gonna come, you know, and then people are gonna put way too. It's like it's not all it's cracked up to. I actually consult with people. I'm sort of I do consultation work with different people, like celebrities, up and coming celebrities or whatever. Like we do Zoom, and they ask me stuff, and they tell me because they're getting famous, more and more famous, and they tell me all these horrible stories, right? It's not what it's cracked up to. It's not like, imagine you have a bad day, right? You just have a regular ass bad day all day. Okay. If you're famous though, every individual you interact with that day will tell a story to every one of their friends for the rest of their life that you're a piece of shit. You know? That you were just having a regular human bad day. But now you got 100 people telling the world you're a piece of shit because you're famous. You know, like it's not like I kind of prefer not to. Like honestly, I swear, like I'd almost rather just have 500 and just I feel like 500 is great. You know, I don't really need more at all. Like, and they're engaged also. The subscribers, they're very engaged, and that's what I care about. I don't care about sub counts. Like I think
the engagement's nice because I have the same thing on my channel. I see the same people in my comments every day, and it's nice.
Yeah.
But there's a different note, and you know, Jason and I got to talk to you privately later because we know somebody with a Lennon complex, and we're trying to get him help.
Yes.
What are you talking about? I handle being famous well. Like, you know,
Jimmy wants to be famous, and he welcomes all the trolls.
Yeah.
Now, Dank, we're just busting on Jimmy because it's what Jason and I do on the daily.
You know how you said earlier, and you don't like bullies?
Yeah.
And you take care of bullies?
Yeah. Well, you know, Jimmy, you're the first channel I saw of the three of you, you know, and that was through YouTube. YouTube told me to watch you.
It's because I'm the man. No, sorry.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, sorry.
Because it's part of the YouTube algorithm to subvert your mind.
Yeah.
It's part of the brainwashing, you know.
Right.
Oh, I get it.
Yes, that's what I do.
Next thing you know, you'll be buying a house in Kentucky.
That's right. That's right. I'll be putting you in debt in a couple of weeks. Don't worry.
I mean, it's nice. Jimmy lets us out on weekends, and we try to support him. You know.
Oh, I see.
Tell him, Jerry. You tell him.
So these other channels are just like you actually control all the other channels, and they're just they're like subtly supporting you. And
we're here to funnel subs to Jimmy.
That's right.
We were talking about Lex Luthor earlier in the green room, and that sounds some pretty Lex Luthor-y.
That's right.
Scheming.
Yeah, just ask Jimmy what happens if you get in his way, and what happens to your ass.
You'll get Jimmied, fool.
Oh, that's where that comes from.
Because there was a private message going on with the three of us.
It was private.
And Jimmy said, if someone gets his way, he'll go straight through their ass. And I go, isn't that a bit invasive, Jimmy? And then I go, that guy just got jimmied. And then it stuck. And then it became a thing. And now it's just one of our greatest joys as a trio is, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Jimmy. Don't let Jimmy fool you. Jimmy loves it.
Oh, I love it. Every second of it.
I'll be wearing like double stitch jeans when I meet you. I'll be wearing like biker Kevlar shorts like when I meet you. So
Jason and I got some memes we can send you that we put together.
Yeah, I
mean,
was just
do we have
looking
to
for
do
one right
this?
now, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Dank does not need to see your memes, which Slot did do a good one today. You need to show. Well, the Nick's Kicks one was great.
Yeah,
But
I commented
That
on
was
that
one of
one.
the best ones I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that was so fantastic.
I want to get that out of my memory, but then I also enjoy it. It's weird, it fills me with all kinds of feelings. I know.
Well, yeah, he said he did a thing. I go, I want to see, and then he showed me. I'm like, I don't want to see. I don't want to see.
Oh man, it's like you can't look away, but you want to. I don't know what it is. It's like that perfect alchemy. You guys figured something out there.
Yeah, Slot has this. Slot will meme you in a second. Don't worry. He'll come for you too.
Oh, hey, it's cool.
You've been on our show. We've had your face for over an hour. He's going to cut it out at different intervals and different places.
Oh, I've seen some of these right now. Now I'm like, so it's all like I'm having a ending of the movie moment where where you're like, oh shit, that's what it was.
Oh goodness,
I love it.
So we've actually been going for an hour and 20 minutes, and I think I can speak for all of us. We could talk to you all night, but some of us got to work in like 6 hours. One of us has to go eat dinner with his wife.
Oh yeah, I'm on the East Coast. I get you.
And but so we'll start wrapping it up. So, is there anything that you would like to get out and tell anyone about yourself in the wrap up process? Something we may not know about you, or something, or a message you want to get across to the audience that's watching?
Okay, so a lot of that consulting work I do with like rich people and shit and famous people, I don't even take money for that shit. I make sure they pay it forward. I don't even take money for that. Like, and they actually want to pay me money. They want to give me money. It frustrates them that I'm not rich. Believe it or not, like it frustrates them. So, because it's not about money, folks. And like, the greatest secret a guru knows is that you don't need a fucking guru, right? It's all within yourself. You can find all the answers within yourself, and gurus don't talk about that because then they're out of business. Yeah. Also, I don't know. I can just come up with a bunch of shit, but yeah.
I don't know if Jimmy agrees with you on the money thing. Jimmy needs all the money.
Oh, I get money for other things.
I like that paper.
Money will come. Money will come from other things, and it does. I get money for other things. Like I get lots of money for other things, but the certain work I do for, like, I also help homeless people. Like I will help homeless people get jobs. I have a friend that I like pay. He's like a recovering addict, and he's like he's totally sober now, right? And I used to hate him because he used to be this annoying homeless dude and just be wasted. But then he got clean and sober, and it's so hard for him because like people still look down on him, and he's like, he's older, and everyone sees him as a piece of shit. But music is one of the things that like keeps him going, right? Music, and then like Tupac and stuff like that. So, and he had this like really crappy little iPod Nano he's like, yo, can you help me charge this? It dies every 20 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, oh my God, right? And then he pulls out a smartphone. He's like, my uncle gave me this, but I don't know what to do. I'm like, give me your smartphone, right? And I look at it, I delete everything. I'm like, this is your music player now. You understand?
Right. You don't
this
need
is 20 gigs. This is your music player. He's like, what? Really? And I'm like showing him, I'm spending like, I'm at work too. I'm at a cafe, right? But I'm like, I don't, so I'm just like showing him, and then and he's like, oh, can you help me download this and this and this? And I'm like, here, and I just like pay for what's the other music platform that Jay-Z started or whatever. So anyway, I subscribe and pay for it, right? And I give it to him, and he's like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm paying for it. It's like $9.99 a month. Every song you ever thought of at any time, this music will stay with you always, right? He's like doesn't want to accept it, right? He doesn't like charity, He's like, no, I can't. I was like, I kind of yelled. I was like, listen, motherfucker, like 1 hour of tip money I get here pays for the entire month. Don't even give me that shit. Just take it, And so anyway, I help people on the entire spectrum, like not just this person or that person. And I can't help everyone, but I don't discriminate with like I'll help, because rich people are also, their lives suck actually. Like I have family that's very rich too, and they're not as happy.
They're very scheduled. I mean, your whole day's taken up. For a lot of people I know that have money have no free time ever.
And they also don't know who their friends are anymore. The thing is, like, when you get that wealthy, you don't know why people are your friends anymore, and that's the worst thing about title. Yeah, exactly. I pay for title, and like, and I actually call title because he doesn't know. I can't contact my friend, and because he doesn't have a phone number, he's homeless, right? So, but I have to contact title because we have no way of meeting, and I'm like, is it active? You know, I'm paying for someone else. And like, yeah, it's active. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, as long as it's active, I'm gonna keep paying for that. Sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. I need a job at a coffee shop. I love coffee shops because I can engage with like 100 people a day. So that's why I'm good at engaging, because I'm doing it on a high, like a super fast level in New York, where I'm like, I'll meet 200 people a day, and I try to make people see life better as much as I can, as fast as I can.
So how are you with alone time then? Like, are you the type of person you have to be around people, or do you have those days where you just need to be solo to yourself and just?
I love going to Chinatown and walking around, and everyone thinks I'm Chinese because I'm Korean, right? But they think I'm Chinese. So I'm an outsider on the inside, right? So I can just like go anywhere, and no one looks at me weird, you know, but no one knows me, and I can't talk to anyone, and I'm like totally anonymous. And in Chinatown, no one's trying to look cool. No one's trying to like look good. So I like going to Chinatown because like there's no bullshit there. I love alone time. I go grocery shopping alone all the time. I find I do a lot alone. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna talk about a video, but I have depression all the time. I deal with, like, people say I'm very positive, you know, and I am, but I struggle with depression. So I want to make a video about that too later, about, because people don't know, that they don't assume I do, but I actually do. And I just try to do stuff to kind of make the world different, because I think that's kind of part of the trigger of why I'm depressed, because the world is so messed up. So I just need to like do something or not. I mean, like, I can not do anything and just be miserable, or I can try to do something and then die, right? I mean, it's like, what's the point? Like, what is the fucking point? I'm trying not to curse. I'm sorry. I'm not, because, right, it's not good for us if we curse too much.
That's all right. I think people are gonna, you know. I have everything marked as adult. But anyway, so okay. That's awesome. I'm not trying to be rude. We are gonna wrap this up.
Okay. Yeah. Of course.
I really do got to work in 6 hours, and I got to get at least 4 hours of sleep. Jimmy also has to work around the same time I do. I think Jimmy gets up at 4:30 with me.
No,
I'm up at like 5.
You do not have to explain. Like I worked in coffee shops.
We're having a great time talking.
I used to wake up at 4 a.m. all the time. Like, I know what it is.
But all I gotta say is Dank Comics.
Right. And obviously you're welcome on any of our channels at any time.
Yes, sir.
If you want to collab on anything, just reach out, dude. We're here for you. And
I appreciate that.
If you and Gary want to meet up and take care of some bullies one night,
I have some things. I have some books.
If you want to talk to Jimmy, you got to go through his agents first.
I know some gangsters, and I got some books.
You can just talk to us directly.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll tell my agent that, because
right.
I'm gonna talk directly. I don't need you. No.
But dude, thank you so much for coming on. It was really a pleasure to have you, man. Thank you for agreeing to be on the show with us, and we had a blast talking with you.
Okay, honored, truly.
Everyone in the chat, thank you guys for showing up. And the way we like to do this, Dank, is we're going to do the usual suspects goodbye, and then let you say the last goodbye to the audience. All right, so Jason, lead us off.
Slot it up, comic book world.
Until next time.
Keep it casual.
Happy collecting, y'all.
All right. And this is the awkward ending broadcast. Here we go.